Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Saba Show. And today, we're doing a little bit of a different type of video. Carlton had a pretty ordinary season. As a football fan, as a Carlton supporter, there were some players that made me very, very infuriated, but some players that, had a very, very strong season, and I'm going to applaud them for it. But today we're going to be doing some player grades for the Carlton season. We're going to do it in the form of a tier list. We've got some very interesting tiers. Like and subscribe if you go on to enjoy the video. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right in. Okay, and we've made it to the tier list. Yeah, I did this on Tier Maker. As you can see, the tiers, we have the I Love You tier because I love this player big time. The A to B tier is is pretty solid. You had a pretty good year, but you weren't superstar. Then you have good enough but inconsistent, which is it's borderline average. It's a bit better than average or average. And then you have the not ideal tier, which is C to D. And then go to the Rezzies and stay there is the F tier. But I think we'll have more people in the Scream at the TV category. Yeah, because these guys were just bad or really annoying to watch. So let's hop right in. I don't know why the players are very blurry, but yeah, let's just dive right in. Let's, sort out the no-brainers first. First up, we've got Harry McKay. He's in the I Love You category, obviously. 58 goals on the season, Coleman medal winner, All-Australian. I mean, there's not much you could ask for from him. It's a bit of a shame that he ended the season with a shoulder injury, but hopefully he'll come back stronger, next year. Then we have, the ideal. Let me find him. Where is he? Got the glasses out for this because I can't find the players. Sammy Welsh, I love you, obviously. He's only been in the league for 3 seasons, but he's done a lot of stuff. I think he was the youngest All-Australian this year. Voted in the top 3 of the players' votes. He was up there in the coaches' votes. He will be up there in the Brownlow medal, so it's going to be interesting to see, how that works. But honestly, a very strong season. I think he ended up with 12 goals. Yep, that is 12 goals in 22 games. So a very good return from a midfielder. And there were a couple absolutely brilliant goals out of those 12. And then we also have Weeders. He was just a brilliant one-on-one defender. Our backline was very, very vulnerable. But look, given that was the situation, he was absolutely tremendous for us. Very hard to beat in a one-on-one. Not many opponents really got a hold of him. There was that. There were a few games. The North Melbourne game comes to mind. But regardless, in times where, it felt like he was a one-man defense, he did a very, very good job of it. So, look, I can't ask for much more. He should have been an All-Australian as well. He got stiffed there, and he has been stiffed probably for the last 2 or 3 seasons in that department. But regardless, hopefully he fights back and has another strong season next year and gets that All-Australian that he really deserves. Okay, and now we're going to get onto the more... Well, we're just going to go in order, really. Mitch Mcgovern, I reckon he's got to sit in the not ideal. He didn't get too many opportunities. I think he played 5 games this season. Yeah, only the 5 games, the 6 goals. He had a lot of injury. Given how much we're paying him, it's not a great return at all. He has not given us what we paid for. So that's a no-brainer. It's going to sit not ideal. TDK, I think he was really solid. He held up very well against some rucks. He had some interesting moments, some questionable moments, but, he also went into the forward line, had an impact there. That game against Collingwood, he really held up against Brody Grundy. It was him and Jack Silvani. But yeah, he's been really good for us. Number 1 ruck at the club now. So stock, I'm going to put stock in the B to C. Had the task of being up against some really good, small forwards. Sometimes he took the best small forward. It's not where he should be playing, but he did a very good job nonetheless. Very courageous, team player. You know what you're going to get from him. But yeah, there were some times where he had some howler moments. That Geelong kick, where I don't think he dropped the ball very well in that Geelong game. That was a game that we just don't talk about. But He's going in the B to C. Liam Jones, bloody solid. He was very good alongside Wiedering. Not quite, all-star level, but he could have been up there. He could have been up there in the I love you, but it is what it is. It's because it's Liam Jones, really. But he was probably the more unsung hero of this, this backline. Doc, I'm going to say B to C. He wasn't great. If I had a grade, it's probably a C or a C+. Had some really big howler moments before he had that ankle surgery, and now he's got the testicular cancer as well. But yeah, he wasn't great this season, really. I mean, he was, the face of some really, really bad mistakes in our losses, and that's not where you want to be as a captain. So Brody Kemp, there's not much to really base his career on, but I mean, he played a couple games and looked all right. More so in the second game. A lot of dash off half-back, which was really nice to see from someone of, as tall as him. So yeah, there's not too much to base it on. He's probably a C. Eddie, yeah, I'll give him a pass. It's like a C. Yeah, he kicked a few goals. I think he kicked 27 goals. As I look at the stats here, 27 goals. Pretty decent return from him in his final season. There were times where it looked like he was the most dangerous forward, and then there were times where he didn't have a sniff. So not a bad final season from him. Jack Silvani is going in the bloody solid category because he was great, especially in the latter half of the year where he had to do some ruck duties. Really good from him. He just plays with heart, really. Obviously, it's a footballing family, and he's been playing for the jumper, which is really good to see, and not enough players in our team are doing that. Okay, and welcome to the Scream at the TV category, Lockie Plowman. He just yeah, it's a pain to watch with him because he's good at times, but then he's just infuriating other times. He'll let 5 goals in to his direct opponent. Round 2, I think he let in 5 goals to the goalie, so it's not great. You don't feel confident when he has ball in hand or when it's coming in his direction. So I'm going to put him in the Scream at the TV category. It's not saying he's bad because on his good day, he's probably in the bloody solid category, but there's not too many of those. So I'm going to put him in the Scream at the TV category. Jack Martin is going in the B to C as well. There were some really good games this year from him where he kicked a couple bags and looked really dangerous with his tackling pressure and whatnot. But yeah, there weren't enough of those, basically. Nick Newman, I don't know if this is unpopular, but I think he was really good this season when he did play. Yeah, because he didn't really get like a full run at it. He's played 14 games this season gone by. But in those 14 games, I think he was really good, really good left foot kick, but at times he did let himself down. But I think he's a bit better than the other ones below him. It's probably debatable with Stocker. But in saying that, I think he sort of deserves it. Zach Fisher, he didn't really get a run either. Played 10 games. I'm going to put him in the not ideal. It's not his fault, but when he did get a run, he didn't look that threatening. Just having a look, he kicked 4 goals, 8 on the season. So from a small forward, that's not really what you want. But yeah, hopefully, comes back full preseason and, basically takes the world by storm. Kicks, 2 goals a game. Probably not going to happen. That's being very optimistic. But yeah. Lukey Parks, not ideal, I'm going to say. This isn't his fault either. He's just a really inexperienced player. I think we got like a bit out of him. But he just looked too... what's the word? A bit vulnerable. I'd give him a C-, basically, if I had to give him a grade. But yeah, that's just based on, him being really vulnerable as a rookie player. Cunningham, I'll put him in a C. He looked really good coming out of the blocks. But then, injuries hit. He had 4 games in the season, and then he was undone by, I believe it was an ACL. It's what seems like, years ago when that injury happened, but he looked really good prior to that. So I'm just going to put him in a C, roughly. Yeah, that'll be the same with Corey Durden. In his 2 games, he looked really good in terms of tackling, just energy in a time where we really needed it. He played in 2 pretty bad losses, but in saying that, even though we didn't get much of the footy, really good signs from a player that's going to be a bit of a project. Pedo, we'll put him around average as well. There were some games where he played really well, took some really good marks, kicked a couple crucial goals. But in saying that, there were some games where he just, he was getting dominated, beasted around the ground. Paddy Dao, he would be the higher end. I'll put him up top. I'll give him like a B maybe. He was really good in his good games. I mean, the title of this tier is good enough but inconsistent, and he was very inconsistent, especially at the start of the year. This could have easily been a not ideal season for him, but, he picked it up in the latter half, and we really saw glimpses of what he can be as a player, so hopefully we don't get rid of him. Charlie Kerner, you put him in a C as well. He didn't play enough games to, really gauge a grade. Willow, I'm going to put him in the not ideal category, and I think a lot of Carlton supporters will agree with me on this one. He just couldn't get a lot of continuity. When he came in, he had a pretty meh performance and then went back down to the Razzies or whatever. But yeah, I don't know where his, first season punch has gone, because he had a really good first season. But since then, in the latter half of the year, he kicked some really nice goals, off halfback. I think he kicked 2 in the St Kilda win, which was really nice to see. But, that was like one performance in, 10 bad ones. And then we go to another scream at the TV. He could just go in an F. He just pisses me off. He'd probably more realistically end up here. Jack Nunes, he's in the scream at the TV category because he's just a bit brain dead sometimes. Just really bad kicks. He has a good chance to score a goal. It doesn't happen. If you're a Carlton supporter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Ed Kerner, I'd say he's bloody solid. He's been a really good, support staff for the year. At times he hasn't been in the right position to play at his best. He works, his best in the midfield as a tagger, but he hasn't been given that role enough. But when he does, he doesn't really give a bad performance ever. It's just he sometimes doesn't get the football. But I think he was really solid this year, and in what was a pretty rough season for the midfielders at Carlton. He ended with 10 goals on the season. He sort of buffed that a little bit at the end of the year. But in saying that, very good, strong season by Ed. Josh Honey, I'm putting him bloody solid because he was great. He was great when he came in. I don't know why he didn't get an opportunity. He only played 5 games in the season, which, it's not enough to base, to put him in a B. I'd probably give him a B or a B+. Because his performances were really good when he came in. A lot of pressure, as mentioned with the other small forwards that we really needed. I don't know why he didn't get more game time. He converted, a couple of games there. Looked really dangerous. So we need to give him a full run of 22 games next season. It's going to be difficult though, because we have, a lot of small forwards lining up to be picked in the best 22. Omac, we put him at C. You probably forgot about this guy. But he was alright. He came on as the med sub a couple times, but he's going to be a C for me. Murph, I think we have to put him in the C- because it wasn't a great year by his standards. He got chucked on half forward. What can you really do there when you're, a fully bred midfielder? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Probably a disappointing way to go out for Murph, but we could have seen a little more from him because in his last game he played, he put up a solid 20 touches, so maybe he had something like that still in him. But I guess we'll never know. Gibbons, I think I'll put him here, but he's probably upper end somewhere. He was pretty good as well. There were some games where he was very, very, very quiet, and that's probably why he sits in this tier. But when he was switched on, he's pretty reliable. He kicked 8 goals in 11 games, so that's obviously a good return. Probably not enough for a small forward, but he played, up the ground. He's really been renowned for that. Levi, okay, he's either going bottom end of C- D or here or here. I'm going to put him here because he's just a pain in the ass to watch. Great career from you, Levi. But this season ain't it, Chief. Every single time the ball went near him, it just looked like he gave up. If he didn't have the ball in his hands, he gave up. Just infuriating as a Carlton fan. Because you just yell at the guy to move. Just move. But he didn't do that enough. So, yeah, that's why you're down here, Levi. Adam Sard, solid. He, in a time where, our marquee signings, marquee, I put that in quotations, they haven't been great. I think Adam Sard's probably been the best of them. His dash off halfback's been really exciting to watch. It's something we've been lacking. Sometimes he doesn't use it effectively. But even his kick has been really good at times this year. He could easily be in the tier below. But in saying that, I think he's shown enough. He's shown enough. He's been very potent with his kick at times. He's gotten on the scoreboard, which is something you really want to see from a dashing halfback. But yeah, I think that's justified. Then we got Setterfield, not ideal. Never got a full run. When he was in, he didn't give effort. Pretty much a shadow of his former self from the 2 years prior, because he looked pretty good in those first 2 years at Carlton. So he's going there. He could easily be down here. It's been a pretty poor season from setters. Matt Owies, he's going upper end of B to C. Yeah, he's been really good signing. He hadn't played a game until like the middle of this season, and has really delivered. I think he's got 15 goals in 13 games and 17 behind. So conversion could have made it very, very pretty viewing. But in saying that, still his pressure was up. Showed a lot of passion when he scored goals, which is what you want to see. We said that with Jack Silvani before. But yeah, that's a really good sign from him. Hopefully he can carry it over to the next season. Kick 30 goals maybe. I don't know if he gets a full run at it, because he was probably on pace. And Maddie Cottrell, could easily be an F. I mean, he had a very good season, renowned for that match winner against Sydney. But look, this season was pretty trash. I'm not going to lie from him. He played 14 games and kicked 3 goals. I don't think he deserved 14 games at all. He needed to get dropped early. They needed to pull the pin on him. He's probably not going to get a list spot for next year, because he's uncontracted, and, he didn't put in the best of performances. Pretty bad by foot as a winger. Sometimes got burnt, just out of gas. Lockie O'Brien, B to C. We needed to see more of this guy, and we didn't. Thanks to David Teague for playing him, the last 5 rounds of the year, because we got to see what we were missing. Yeah, I mean, nothing more to be said about this guy, except he's got a banging left foot, and, he needed to be using it a lot more in an AFL system. So hopefully he gets a run next year if he gets a contract, because, he's got potential there. He really does. He's lethal, and he's got endurance capabilities. So please play the man. Samo, not ideal or F. It could easily be an F. Mans didn't try a lot of the time. His effort, it looked like he was getting gassed after playing the game for 2 minutes and doing one effort. So yeah, really poor season from him. He played 14 games, kicked a goal. His disposals were down 14 touches. I mean, they really don't know where to play this guy. You feel if he gets traded to like a Fremantle, it's going to end up that he becomes this really, really good ball user in the midfield, in terms of delivery inside the forward 50, which we're crying out for. So I don't want to let go of him, but in saying that, we don't know how to use the guy. So honestly, let him play his best footy at another club. Zach Williams, not ideal. Not ideal as a, first season play at the Blues. He should be damaging. He wanted a midfield role. He did shit in the midfield role and then went back to halfback. And he's getting paid big money. Did not deliver. Very similar to Mitch Mcgovern. Hopefully, turns it around next season. Matt Kennedy only played a small portion of games, but I'm going to put him in the bloody solid category. I think in the games that, Cripper was out and whatnot, he was the bull, and we needed someone like that. And he was very, very solid, hit the score sheet in a couple of games. Very good tackler. Got his hands on the footy a lot. Sometimes he didn't do a lot with it. There were a couple of games where he went missing, but for the most part, he was very, very strong. Sometimes he go missing, as I said, in our games that we lost convincingly, as did so many of our other good players. But, he was, I think he was a shining light when he came in. 2 players left, Fogg. He's probably at the very low end. He was bang average. He started well, very well actually. A lot of Carlton supporters praising him, and then he just, fizzled out. Lost his spot in the, senior side, and then never really got going for him. He had a couple games in the latter half of the year, but didn't have an impact in those. So, yeah, I don't know where his role stands in the team. As a midfielder, he looked really good. But he also played a role in the forward line. But then there were some games you forgot he was there. So, whether he was playing midfield or forward, it didn't matter. And our last player is Cripper. Very interesting option. I think if I graded him, he'd be a B. And some people will say he's up here. Some people will say not ideal. And you can say that it was not ideal by his standards. But then again, he was battling injuries probably for the entirety of the season. And there were some games where he really delivered. There was the Adelaide game. There was, I think, the Essendon game. But yeah, it was really difficult. Never really got his body right all season. So I think given what he could manage, he did a very good job. But it'd be great to see him, having games where he's not having only 17 handballs and 0 kicks. That'd be nice. And he probably needs to practice a bit of goal kicking. Because that was... he had a pretty good season in front of goal. 13 goals, 11. But in saying that, he can make that, a 25 goal season next season. If, he puts the work in and he gets his body right. So I think this is probably a justifiable grade for Patrick Cripps. And that was an excessively long video, but that is it. That is the whole list. I'll have the link in the description if you want to try it for yourself and tell me what you would change. But that's about it from me, so I hope you enjoyed this one. Enjoy your day, and I will see you later. Peace out.